So Mario Tennis Fever actually brings back a story mode, and this has been a big controversial point, it seems like, for a lot of people online and for a lot of the reviews. It seems to be the worst part of the game, so I decided to set out and see is it really as bad as people say it is, and actually give it a fair chance. Now, this is a Mario sports game, so the story really wasn't anything. In fact, it's pretty strange. Daisy gets sick, and Wario and Waluigi find this magical fruit somewhere that will apparently heal her. So the gang sets off in order to find the fruit, and of course, Wario and Waluigi had other plans. They tricked them into coming here just to find some gold, but yet the gold fruit still is here. One thing that I've seen super quickly is like, this is the best animation that I've ever seen in a Mario game. Like, this is high quality rendering. Like, dude, this is better than any mainline Mario game cutscene. There's not a lot of these things, but mostly what's here from the very beginning and end of the game is actually extremely impressive. I actually hope they end up hiring Camelot just to make the cutscenes for the next 3D Mario or something, because look how good these things look. But yep, Mario gets the golden fruit, Wario and Waluigi disrupt some type of ancient evil that's sleeping in a cave, and it starts attacking them. But it's too late because it grabs Mario, Luigi, Peach, and turns them all into babies, including turning Wario and Waluigi into babies as well. So to save the day and turn back into adults, what do we have to do? Play tennis! Yep, the first half of this story mode is just practicing tennis. Yep, and leveling up your baby Mario in order to be the best tennis player that he can be, because you'll need your tennis skills in order to save the day. Look, it doesn't need to make sense. It's a tennis game that has a story mode. I'm perfectly fine with the story being stupid and silly, but you're spending the first half, and not only just the first half, really like the first 60 to 65% of the game, just going around a facility and doing basic challenges in order to level up your baby Mario. These challenges aren't necessarily bad, but they're not necessarily good either. They're just like incredibly simple, brain-dead challenges where you're not gonna fail any of them by a large margin. I mean, you genuinely have to set the controller down and just do nothing to lose these. It's funny because the challenges don't feel like they have anything to do with actual tennis. For instance, you'll do a challenge where you need to lift a box in order to collect falling tennis balls from cranes, and then right after that, they'll throw you on a tennis court with a robot piranha plant and you'll learn an actual tennis move. And then it's back to a random minigame, but then it's back to that blue court with the piranha plant again. It's the same rinse and repeat, alternating back and forth between minigame and piranha plant mission. Now, you'll have some other challenges as well, like for instance, you'll play actual tennis matches against a Toad or against Wario and Waluigi often, or you might have to take a simple 3-question quiz, which is pretty much brain-dead questions. I remember lots of the reviews saying this felt like baby's first tennis a lot of the time, and I'm telling you, this first half of the story mode definitely felt like that. Like, this was your first time ever playing a tennis game, and that's what makes this so annoying. Is like, this is like, what, the 10th Mario Tennis game now? At this point, if you don't know how to play Mario Tennis, which I get some people don't, you know, you might be a younger kid that's just grown up with the Nintendo Switch and, you know, maybe you skipped Aces and this is your first tennis game for some reason, well, I feel like there just needs to be a separate mode for that. Like I said, some of these challenges could actually end up being fun if they were a little harder and maybe some type of ranking system to give you a reason to replay them and stuff, or the option to replay them. You actually might be able to play some of these missions. I didn't even check, but still, it's just like, man, I wish there were more of these little fun mini games, but they actually like had us doing more tennis stuff, which you'll find out they do. It just the last 40% of this game. Now, to end this segment of the story mode, you have to go through a little tournament of 2v2 matches until you reach the end, and that's pretty much it for the school section. And that's pretty much it for the academy section. This took about 1 hour 39 minutes with me going through pretty daggone fast, but it felt pretty long because the rest of the game is significantly shorter, which actually is a serious bummer because I feel like this part was downplayed heavily by reviewers, because once you get into the actual adventure, oh, it's not here for a while, but it's fun. Unfortunately, the world map is relatively small, and you'll only go through a handful of areas, mostly doing boss battles and tons of really quick challenges, but man, there's some fun stuff here. Take this whole airship chapter of the story, this whole thing was pretty cool. You'll go through a 2v2 battle with Wario and Waluigi before they set the airship on fire. Then you'll have a whole mission where you need to put out flames in different areas, where you have to actually control where the bubble goes around the court. The first one's pretty easy, but then you'll actually go below deck and start hitting the walls that are on fire now. And then you have to cool off the reactor as it's on fire as well, pretty much. And you have to hit all the different beams of the reactor on all sides, which is a fun challenge. Lots of these challenges will have you alternating lob shots, drop shots, or maybe even your fever shot in order to hit very precise targets. Which, once again, I thought this was really cool. You then have a boss battle against Wario and Waluigi on Bowser's battleship, where you need to deflect the bullet bills and bob-ombs right back at them. It's actually pretty cool where they tie an actual tennis match in with also crazy bullet bill and bob-omb blasting towards you. It's a really well done idea. There's then a section where you have to get through an ice cave maze and also fight off Typhoos by just blasting bats right back into them. It's nothing too crazy. But then you'll get to your next boss battle, which happens pretty fast. You'll fight bosses almost one after the next in this game. This one is a variant of the Flame Chomp enemy from Mario Bros. 3, giving you the Ice Chomp. Actually, a new variant of an enemy that we've never seen before is pretty unique. This was actually an incredibly well done boss battle. You have to wait for a swoop to fly down and deflect him into one of the 8 ice panels on the wall until you break some of them in order to hit the Ice Chomp on the other side that's constantly moving around, which is going to require different types of shots in order to reach him. They then immediately throw you into another boss battle, literally directly after this one against a giant Cheap Chomp, and then right after this one, yet again, another boss battle against a bigger Cheap Chomp. This one wasn't anything too challenging. It was really just deflecting Cheap as they bounce toward you and making sure you have good aim this time around. It wasn't just hitting them point blank. You actually had to aim depending on where the Cheap Chomp was in the water and watching out for the electricity as well. The forest section right after was also just as fun. You'll have this whole area of piranha plants to take out where you have to aim very carefully. Some piranha plants are chomping, which means you can't really hit them. They'll actually eat the tennis ball if you hit it towards them. Some are spitting out mud balls that will cause you to get all stuck on the ground. And then eventually some piranha creepers will come out, which you have to hit multiple times. Some might be really high where you have to hit a lob shot up to hit them. Some might be super low where a drop shot is best. Some might be defended by another piranha plant where you need to use a fever shot in order to hit multiple at once. They've actually come up with some pretty cool things for a tennis boss battle, dude. And of course, what's the Mario spinoff without Petey Piranha being in the game in some capacity? Yep, he's a boss battle once again. I mean, he just was in Aces, but this one I think is just as good. I mean, you actually have to have a regular tennis battle with him until he gets angry enough by going back and forth, keeping a really good volley going, and then you'll have to keep another one going with Mud until it knocks him over, and then finishing him off with a double fever shot with Daisy. It's actually very satisfying, and like I said, I'm loving this by this point. There's even a pretty cool swamp area where we have to take out Histocrats, thanks to these spikes actually throwing these giant spiked mud balls that we have to hit on the top of the Histocrats' heads. They even brought back King Histocrat from Mario 3D World, where you have to hit the rocks over the top of the Histocrats that guard it. Now, you might be wondering, this sounds like fun. What's the complaints about? Well, all of that I just talked about was no joke about 30 minutes. I kid you not. It's genuinely that fast. Just like that, you make it to the final area in like 30 to 35 minutes, and you pretty much see what the boss is going to be. It's a scuttlebug? Yeah, it's pretty strange. Now, I've seen some people laughing at this online, saying this whole creepy thing that was able to possess the bros and turn them into babies is just a bunch of powered up scuttlebugs with boxing gloves. Yeah, it might sound silly, but I'm actually a fan of it. Dude, the scuttlebugs is like a forgotten Mario enemy, I feel like. They don't return too often at all. I don't think they're in any of the 3D Mario games. No, you don't count. And neither do you. And neither do you. Yeah, this is a Skeeter. But you count. Technically, this was the first Scuttlebug from Mario 64, and it looked like a marble with eyes. But they did get changed in Mario 64 DS. Look, that's enough for the Scuttlebug lore. I guess it was really cool to see such a lesser known enemy take the main stage as like the main villain of this game, because this was just one of the evil Scuttlebugs. You fight another one later on. It's also funny that they're like partnered with Fuzzies for some reason. It's just like two completely random Mario enemies working together as the main villain. But then we get to see the true villain, and yup, it's King Scuttlebug. And Bowser. This was actually a really good boss fight. Now, one of the problems with the boss fights, however, is they don't give you 3 hearts like some of the missions do. Instead, it's based on an HP meter, which is just like impossible to drain. I mean, you're gonna have to get hit a crazy amount of times for that thing to completely drain. Now, what's cool about this fight is the Scuttlebug will warp everybody to a previous boss arena and also change Bowser's racket, so that way you're kind of getting like flashback boss battles with Bowser in there. Now, it's not anything super crazy or anything like that, but I thought it was actually pretty good for what it was, especially when you have to use Bowser as the actual tennis ball. But that's just the thing. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. It can be easy. It can be fun little challenges that you like to go back and revisit. That's what makes a fun story mode for something like a sports game. It doesn't need to be ambitious. It just needs to be longer than the Great Plateau from Breath of the Wild. Because yeah, that's the end of the game. That's everything. Now, there are some optional matches that you can play against some computers in the story mode. You can talk to some of the NPCs to trigger them, but there's not really any collectible or something that you can actually try to 100% in part of the story mode. It's just like this really short 3-hour adventure. And like I said, 60% of that adventure is literally just a tutorial within the tennis academy as a baby. Now, this has been an argument online a lot, where people saying it's not worth $70 simply because the story mode is like 3 hours long and the most minimal content ever. And I've seen a lot of people rebuttal saying you don't buy a tennis game for a story mode. You don't buy a golf game for a story mode, or even a baseball game for a story mode. But these are all games that have had story modes. Mario Golf Super Rush had one, and Mario Golf story mode is right around 5 to 10 hours to complete, but it even has 100% objectives reaching 10 to 13 hours. Mario Tennis Aces story mode was a little shorter, coming in around 5 to 6 hours, and even Mario Super Sluggers was right around the same area. Now, to be fair, the main story for most Mario games are not that long. Super Mario Odyssey was only around 12 to 15 hours long, and Mario Wonder was only around 13 to 15 hours. Now, granted, that's not 100%ing those games, because to get all the Power Moons and also all the Wonder Seeds, it's going to take you a lot longer, probably up to 20, 30 plus hours, but that's the thing. There's nothing else to collect than the Mario Tennis Fever story mode. Once you beat it, that's pretty much it. There's no checklist of extras to do. Like I said, I'm not even for sure if you can go back and do past challenges. I'm sure you can. At least I really hope you can. But I can probably go deeper into this with another video talking about the rest of this game. But the problem with this is a very important mode for the game. I mean, yes, past tennis games didn't really have story modes outside of Aces, or the RPG elements of the Game Boy game. I mean, shoot, my favorite Mario Tennis game before this was Mario Power Tennis on the GameCube, and I think this game actually might beat it out, because the actual tennis is extremely good, and that's what disappoints me, because this had the potential to be an extremely good game. Like I said, I'll talk about the actual tennis and the other modes in another video, but if this story mode was just a little longer, say 5 to 6 hours, and just consisted of the adventure mode stuff, not the stupid tennis academy, this would be a high tier adventure mode. Imagine if we got to go around to multiple different worlds, experience even more enemies and boss battles and tons of fun challenges, and collect the rackets that's already in the game. There's like 30 different Fever rackets, and imagine if each world had like 4 or 5 for us to collect. Maybe there's some really difficult missions that are optional, kind of like Mario Wonder did, stuff to make us go back and maybe replay the story mode too once we complete it. I mean, they could take a 5 to 6 hour story mode and flip it into like a 10 to 11 hour story mode. And for this to be 3 hours long, Nintendo really pushed it as if it was something bigger in this game. I mean, they kept showing it off and almost teasing like there was some stuff to this, but for it being 3 hours, like I've said 100 times already, it's just like, man, it really sucks, because the stuff that's there, the 40% of the good stuff that's there is some good stuff. So yeah, there's definitely some issues with the story mode, but I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be. I feel like for the 40% that is the actual adventure, it is a really solid time. It's just over before you know it. But if you played Mario Tennis Fever story mode, let me know what you think about it down below. Let me know if you enjoyed it. I tell you what though, those freaking cutscenes, oh my gosh, they need to hire Camelot to make these cutscenes for the next mainline Mario game, because man, we have not got pre-rendered cutscenes that good yet. So please, get this company working on the next 3D Mario, Nintendo. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on more things Mario Tennis Fever and Nintendo in general, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See ya, guys.